Okay, so in this video we're going to be talking about the fact that everything's going all digital. It's inevitable, meaning like it's unavoidable, and here's why, how I know this. Because everything already goes on the internet, so you can already pretty much assume that, it's only a matter of time before, like, maybe everything or majority of stuff. And as far as video games go, it's possible that, while people will still have physical copies of, like, let's say, certain games, and people can even make reproduction, like repos is what they call them, or for short, abbreviations. It's actually very interesting that if you really want to take into consideration that, video games or software or hardware, it's like PCs can run stuff better, again, as long as you have the right specs, like GPU, CPU, the RAM, the graphics cards, and making sure that, your consoles are, because it's just a piece of machinery is all it is. So eventually it lives, it dies, and hell, if somebody could even make it to begin with, I mean, you could say the same thing about, like, the internet, everything, it's just like where you store stuff, and, when everything goes all digital, all piracy will also go up because everything's already on the internet. You're putting everything on the internet. People share things on the internet, and, that's just the way it is. Again, like, I buy my games, but it's just the truth that we, so it's inevitable. Like, so, there's going to be a market for, like, some of these games still, but, at the same time, though, when, it's not really for sure, like, how 100% it's going to work, but is it going to happen at some point? It's really more the better question is, like, when is it going to happen? Because at some point it will, because, everything that you can imagine can be done on the internet faster, everything's retweeted faster, and people it's just like that. People could go on Kickstarter and start funding, and it's that easy. There's people like PewDiePie who've made, like, almost $150 million worldwide, and he still is, just for uploading the simplest things. I mean, I make a living because of the internet in a lot of aspects. So it's changed a lot of people's lives. So it's only a matter of time before everything's all, like, done with, like, holograms and, all this other crazy stuff that, you might look at it like, oh, that's just science fiction, but there'll be a science reality. So how else do we know that the video game industry is going all digital? Well, seeing how, like, everything's downloaded, again, maybe how they go about doing it is kind of a terrible idea in a lot of aspects, because, again, like, take GameStop, like, they've had, like, Season 1 codes, pre-orders, and then it's like you go to buy it, and then, like, the codes have already been used, so then you got to contact someone to get a refund and all this other crazy nonsense. But at the same time, when it's done correctly, it's like, there's been people, like, on PSN, for example, you buy a copy of a game and they send you a code for the game so you can download it, and, and then people probably hack and leak those codes and, get it, or they just leak the ISO of the game, and there you go. But it's just crazy to think that, all you need is the file, and however you obtain it is just another story. But it's like all these, all these things that, it's just crazy to think that, everything is just done faster on the internet because it's easier. People upload stuff to YouTube. Everything's done online, again, like, but it's like, not just the video game aspect of it, but, like, it's just software. That's pretty much what makes up most computers, animation and data. It's just, you go on the internet, everything's there. People add stuff to the internet. It's an infinite cyber world. Sharing is faster, and everybody's just there because, it's easier and more interesting because you can find just about anything. Versus, maybe having to go through a catalog and sending it to somebody, people, like, again, Amazon and all that, you can buy stuff off Amazon, it's just easier and faster, and really, that idea in mind is going to be kind of hard to top, and if everybody else was able to somehow invent something even better than the internet, it would be pretty much, like, even faster than what we know of at the moment. But, even for a company, but even for the people that invented the internet, the concept was eventually going to come across, because sharing with people all across the world and everything going online, as well as it's just inevitable. It's inevitable. The software industry, as well as, relies heavily on computers, and you need the computer to connect with other people on the internet. So if that's being true, And not to mention everybody's pushing for using machines and all that, so it's only a matter of time before, like, yeah, you're still going to need people to, like, look after these machines and fix them, but at the same time, though, you're going to still need people to, like, like, video games, there's always going to be people designing them. Anybody who says that video games are dying in the way that they're going to stop manufacturing them, that's not true. Everything will still continue somehow. It'll just be designed differently, sure, but if you think about it, as long as there's always going to be a buyer for that market, because video games make so much money, and of course, people still spend a lot of money making them, but but still, or you can make a game completely from scratch. I'll take like Undertale for example. I'll just use this as an example because it's true. It was made by one guy, Toby Fox, and the guy made millions off it because so many people liked it. So, who's to say that that's not a real job? There's speedrunners in this world, people who play video games and try to beat them as fast as possible. They raise money for doing it. Even though I think charities are a scam in a lot of aspects, but at the same time, though, there's been a lot of people that got together and they still raise money to help people out. I'll give you another example. Just programming in general. It makes things a lot easier, and it's actually a lot more effective than, let's say, going in person and doing it. Because, even like you can do it over Skype, you don't even have to fly over here. You can just do it in the comfort of your house as long as you have the internet, your speeds are all fast, and your bandwidth is okay. But it's like, there you go. You don't have to worry about, like, throttling and all that as long as it doesn't exist. But, everything's done online. Everything's evolving. Everything's going on the internet because everything's, one, you can save things better. The internet can, bring everything more effectively. You can search things faster, and you don't have to memorize all these things. It makes life just that easy. Computers are smarter than human beings are, and more accurate. So, with that being said, it's not really a surprise to really say that the internet has really changed a lot of people's lives, and it's so damn good at what it does that it's only a matter of time before it gets even better than that. So, to really say that, it's a bad idea, really, in comparison to like what we had before the internet, it's kind of you really see why it kicked off the way it did. Because people started realizing that, there was a lot of potential there. And it's actually got so much potential that there's just no way people can really replace it. It's probably, as of right now, one of the best human inventions that anybody's ever created, because it seems like anything can work now. Anything is more possible thanks to this prototype, this advanced technology that brought not only people together, but technology as a whole. And it really showed people that if you don't really know the answer to something, you can just find it on the internet instead. I mean, from like a realistic point of view. And because of that, now people are smarter thanks to the internet. Well, when used correctly, at least. And people have made a lot of money off the internet too. It's really cool what you can really do when you bring people close together. It's very amusing. So, what else did I want to say? There was something else I wanted to say. But because of this is why we've been able to see things that people couldn't just put into words, like pictures and PDF files and PDF and JPEG and all this other, like all these files, all these infinite, like it just goes to show you that there's just so much you can do that even humans didn't even realize they were capable of doing, thanks to the technology. And the same thing with video games, it's because people can make more money that way because of marketing, and it's actually free in a lot of aspects too when you really think about it. And some ways it's not, and it can be very expensive, but thanks to marketing and thanks to the fact that that's where people buy their stuff and shop, everything's going to go all digital because, one, everybody's there, there's more options there, and it's faster. Why go to the actual place and pay someone in person when you can just pay online and boom, there you go. So, it's crazy, but it's just the way it's been. It just proves it. The reason why it's so reliable for a lot of people is because it's the fastest accurate thing that we know of at the moment. And because of that, that's why so many people have relied on the internet to make so much money, as well as engineering designing and even bringing people not just together, but to simplify a cause. So somebody has a goal, they probably use the internet somehow, whether to gather information or to kind of build like something that people couldn't just put on a piece of paper. And thanks to like 3D tech drawings and again, which later become video games, and not just that either, but it's like everything's just going online because it's there. The technology is there. It's just the problem would be with it is just the way people handle it, and that is the problem. That's why it probably wouldn't really work. It's not the technology that's impossible. It's just the way that people try to take advantage of people with like DLC and patches and monthly subscriptions, season passes. It gets ridiculous. It really does. But with every good comes every bad, and with every bad comes every good, vice versa. So the way I look at it, I don't think technology should really be used as we shouldn't really judge technology like it's a flawed device, but rather like a chance to improve, because that's what people look at it as. It's called progression, and that's what the internet has pretty much brought us in the last 20 years when it was, since it's been out anyways. So again, comment, rate, subscribe, favorite, share this video. The better question is, when is it going to go all digital? Because it's inevitable at some point. And we'll just have to see how that works. Because, again, the more progress you make on one idea, the further it gets.